Did you ever hear about Netflix? I'm guessing you have. Have you ever wondered where does Netflix store all the episodes what you see? If not, then Netflix stores most of its contents on AWS. AWS, hope you understand what is AWS, but AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. So the storage system they use to store all the content is called S3. S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. So whenever you click that play button on Netflix, the episode what flows into your machine comes from S3. Of course, there's a lot of things going on between S3 architecturally to your TV, but primarily you can think that all these storage system happens in S3. So what better place rather than staying here, let's jump onto the Amazon S3 website and understand what are the details of S3 and how does it work and how does the pricing work. And by the end of this video, we'll create a bucket on Amazon Web Services S3 and upload a simple file and show how does that work. So let's jump in. Here is the Amazon S3 website. The best place to know about Amazon S3 information. Very honest. I'll put the information link comment section below. A lot of information here. What is Amazon S3? What are the different use cases? And if you want to learn about S3, there are some very good videos where you can get started about it. Some good tutorials of how you want to understand what it is and on the different training courses. I really like the 10-minute tutorials. They are really nice and I think they can really help you get started on Amazon S3. Well, let's understand what is S3. S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. This is an industry-leading storage system which has scalability, data availability in different zones, which is secure and highly performing storage system. Let's understand what does S3 architecture really look like? What kind of files you can store? Like we discussed in the previous section below before, Netflix uses its storage system to be S3. So apart from that, what does S3 provide? So let's say if you have a log file, uh, it can be a .txt file, .csv file, a JSON file, an XML file, whatever the file format it is. You want to have a centralized system where to store that information and get retrieve that information. So what we are going into the what kind of data we can store at S3. In fact, anything. I mean, let it be videos or pictures, let it be log files, let it be analytical information. Big data analytics all happens in S3 nowadays. A business intelligence system where the files are flowing in from, let's say, websites, files are flowing from different customer service management systems. All this analytics information has to be stored somewhere. It needs to have a landing point. We can say it's a landing zone. So all that get landed into S3, and from there you can transmit this information or retrieve this information for your AI, for your advanced intelligence, I mean advanced analytics or artificial intelligence or machine learning, right? So one of the key things many people have questions is like, is Amazon S3 secure? You can provide a policy that who can access the data, how much, and that all that access policies are possible. So that is called policies. If you want me to make a video on AWS policies, do let me know in the comment section below and I'll make a video on that to go in much detail. But you can control the access to the data. So system in a second, so I'll come back to this point in a minute. Replication, this is one of the important points, right? So the data is available everywhere in the globe. The best part of Amazon S3 is, let's take the example of Netflix only. I don't know if Netflix is really doing this, but we can take the example. Let's say you're watching The Crown. The Crown in US is sourced from a US data center, and the crown, when washed from Australia, should be sourced should be sourced from a data center which is closer to Australia, because that way people who are trying to see the episode of Crown in Australia will be able to see the episode faster. Retrieving is faster because a closer data center will help uh, the performance improve. So replication is possible, and replication to any region is possible. That makes Amazon Web Services available. Your content is available everywhere in the globe by replicating it easily. So this helps companies a lot of times. Imagine having the same video content in a data center in US and having maintaining another data center in Australia. Let's say you're here, you would maintain one data center, you maintain one more data center, and your viewers are seeing here, and your viewers are seeing here, right? It's a lot of cost to maintain this, but Amazon Web Services provides it by native. I mean, that is one thing. One more thing, what I wanted to talk about is availability. Um, let's say you are in the US. Even in the US, there are three particular zones. So whenever your copy, I know it's become like a person laughing at it, but let's say these are called availability zones. So whenever your file comes into one availability zone, it's basically its copies are kept in at least three locations. Location one, location two, and location three. Um, Location three here. So at any point of time, completely, if an availability zone goes away, also your information is still stored with two copies are there available. So it is called 99.99999 available. Let me take, yeah, 99.99999 up to the 11 nines of data durability is available in Amazon S3. A lot of companies want to store backup information, let's say 20, 30 years of old data. They cannot get rid of it. All this data is stored in their on-prem hard drives. It's occupying a lot of space and they really don't need it. So you can archive all that data at a lowest cost. With that said, let's jump into the Amazon S3 pricing. I'm in the US East Ohio region right now. If you see, the first 50 terabyte per month is stored at 0.02 cents per month. Of the next 450 terabyte is 0.022 cents per month. As your cost reduces. Um, this particular storage class is called the standard. But let's say um, you have most of the data which you are using, but there is some data which you do not use as often as possible and you don't know how to manage it. S3 has an intelligent tiering system in it where it has artificial intelligence built in, so you can enable this option while building a bucket. And that particular bucket is looking at files inside, and if the files are as frequently, they are charged at a lower cost, which is called infrequent access, and the frequent access ones are charged at 0.023. So you are saving cost. In fact, AWS is giving an intelligence AI based solution to you where you can save costs on infrequent access objects. Same thing if you scroll down, one of the other points what I want to touch is storage class is the S3 Glacier. In the S3 Glacier, like we just spoke about, there might be 20, 30 years old data you cannot get rid of it, but because still it's a company asset information, but you don't need it as often as possible. So for that kind of systems, you can have S3 Glacier Deep Archive. You can store all that data at 0.00099. I mean, three zeros and nine. I mean, you can imagine uh, how low it is per GB. Store that information. The only caveat is the word of the day. If you want to, if you know what is the meaning of caveat, please do put in the comments description below. Okay, so the only caveat here is it's 12 hours. And if you're okay with 12 hours, so then that is good. Okay, welcome to the AWS console. What you're seeing here is, let me actually go back to let me click here. This is how when you log into the AWS console, you can see here, To jump into S3, all you have to do is you can search for the services and click on S3. And this will get you to the Amazon S3 page. From the S3 page, what you can do is on the right section here, you can create a bucket. First of all, you have to create a bucket name. The bucket name should be a unique name. It cannot have, let's say, um, before I actually created imevalbi test, or let's say somebody says bucket world hello. Hello is a very common bucket name, or test is a very common bucket name. Test one can be a very common bucket name. So you have to create a unique bucket name in Amazon S3. That is very important. So based, and it is a global entity. So across the globe, across whoever is using AWS, your bucket name should be unique. So let's try. I'm going to try imevalbi test one. So hopefully this is available when you create a bucket. Where am I creating this bucket? Let's jump into that. So I'm creating in the US, Ohio, East 2 region. It is closer to where I am staying right now, but this should be the bucket should be created closest to the application where it is hosted, or closest to the users who will be accessing this bucket, because that way retrieval of the information would be faster to local to them. So going back to our uh, Crown episodes, uh, particular information where you have Crown coming from Australia, should be somewhere, the region should be Australia. For users who are in US, it should be somewhere closer to US. So you can also choose, I'm going to keep the region for US East Ohio for this particular demo. You can always choose settings and copy the settings from a different particular bucket, but we are going to skip that. What is the access control? So all the objects which are being controlled for this particular bucket is under my ownership. We can always um, put it for somebody else, a different AWS account, but we are going to skip that for this particular demo. By default, all public access will be um, removed. I mean, that is how ideally it should be. I mean, your S3 cannot have public access because it's a major security violation, but you can always bypass that. It's up to you. How do you want to take a look at that particular file or object what you're loading in? For this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off that because I want to see the URL on the public version, but this is not at all recommended. You have to have uh, complete blockage of access. This is a personal account, so I'm able to do that, but in a company's account, it should be all blocked. Bucket versioning, this is very important. Let's say you worked on a file which had two records on top of it, two rows in it, in an Excel file. After 5 minutes, you worked upon something else and you had five rows now, but you want to go back and see the older record, older version of the same file. You can enable the versioning here. That really helps such that you can go back and see what is the missing and what part is not missing. So version 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, it keeps storing the versioning of the file. It's a very good thing to know. So for now, this demo, I'm gonna not use that. You can have tags associated with the bucket. Probably, let's say those are company files, finance files, credit card transactions, or let's say family pictures. Whatever tag you want to allocate to that particular bucket, you can always allocate it. I'm going to leave that empty here. Any service ID encryption, that's it. So let me create the bucket. Oops, good, that's good. So I'm able to create the bucket successfully. And my demo is to upload an image, and we are going to see that image at the end. So I'm going to let me click that bucket. Once you click on that bucket, I want to upload. Let me go to upload, add a file. Let me take my image. I uploaded that particular file. If you see, it's about 190 KB. And I'm uploading. Grant public access. If you see, it's all public access here. You can play with this particular permissions. If you want more information about what is access controls in AWS, do put in the comment section. I can make more videos around that. So I'm clicking upload. So I think we have uploaded the file successfully. So let me click on that particular section. So if you see here, this is where the details of the entire object. This is the photograph PNG, and actually this is the object URL. Oops. Yeah, copy. Yeah, here it is. So if I click on here, I should be able to see my image. So that's it. It's as simple as that. So I created a bucket, uploaded an image, and if I give this particular URL, anybody can access that information. It's like a Dropbox or a OneDrive file I can use instead of using the OneDrive access. So it's how we use it. Let's delete this bucket right now, right? So let me just go to buckets. I'll see what all buckets I have. I have this bucket. Let's see if this allows me to delete. So I'm clicking on delete. It says buckets must be empty before they can be deleted. So you cannot delete a bucket unless and until you empty all the buckets in it. So the best way to do is you can use empty bucket configuration, or you can just go on to buckets and click empty. So I'm gonna write permanently delete. This will empty the entire bucket, and exit. And now I can select the bucket again, which is already selected, and I click delete. To delete, I have to write the bucket name, which is imevalbi test1 delete bucket. This deleted the bucket. So in this video or in this demo, you saw how to create a bucket, upload a image, view that image using an S3 URL, and also delete that particular bucket. This is the step one. This is very basic, which gives you an information how to start off with S3. Do play with Amazon S3, put in your comments and let me know if we can help further. But um, thanks a lot. Take care. Till next time. Bye bye.